What is up, peeps? Welcome back to another episode today of our My Player Career Mode here. We're into episode 95 for you all. And in this one, I'm going to use it as like a little bit of a question. We are getting close to that 100 mark. And, usually, as I've said in a previous episode before, we would live stream it. But I don't exactly know what we should do this time around for the 100th episode. Because I could live stream it and give you it all. But then again, it might not be, I'd say the entertaining games. Because we could be at a new club and we'll be just watching normal league games. I could save, potentially, if Ben gets through to the Champions League final for the live stream. What do you think we should do? Should I just do it as a live stream episode 100 anyway, no matter where Ben is within his career, if he's at a new club or if he's still got the Champions League finals to play? And most importantly, when would be the best kind of time? Because, of course, I know a lot of my viewers don't get to tune into the live stream. So, there's quite a few people that say, I want to tune in, but I can't do it because you go live at times when I'm not awake. So, in which case, when would you guys want it? I'm thinking maybe a Friday night where it's like probably starting at maybe 8 p.m. or like kind of around that stage. So then that way as many people of you could tune into the live stream anyways. Because I don't want as many people there to be able to watch it. Of course, it goes as a video afterwards anyway. So if you do miss it, don't worry about it. You can still check it out when we eventually do the 100th episode. But the first game of the episode today comes against Everton. And it was their former player, Romelu Lukaku, who opened up the scoring in this one to give Manchester United the lead. And as it stands, potentially by the next episode, Manchester United could have had this Premier League title secured. They could be mathematically secure at the top of the table, have their second trophy of the campaign so far, and be heading halfway to a quad of trophies. That's the aim this season, as you know. And then after that, we're looking for Ben to move clubs and head somewhere else to continue his journey on. But also, I want to say, yesterday, I, let's just say, spent the day kind of recovering per se, because on Saturday night I was out at a boxing event for charity, so let's just say a lot of alcohol was probably drank, and my voice kind of wasn't there at that point. Like my voice in general just was so bad. I was so hoarse. So even if I wanted to upload yesterday, right, even if I was feeling good enough to do it and I wasn't like recovering, then I don't think I'd be able to make the commentary because my voice just wouldn't have lasted. But nevertheless, we're going to go back to a double upload tomorrow, guys, 4 p.m. and 6 p.m. So at 4 p.m, there'll be an episode of the Ji Sheng story, and at 6, we'll have the Road to Glory career mode. So make sure you stay tuned tomorrow for that double upload. But as we came out of game 1 with the 1-0 victory for Ben and Manchester United, they took an Everton in the FA Cup. But frustratingly enough, Ben had picked up few too many red cards at this point. And so we had to, unfortunately, sim the game. Pogba opened up the scoring in 37 minutes, but then Pereira missed a penalty for Everton, which could have got them back on level terms. They did manage to get back on level terms with a Poulsen goal before Anthony Martial stepped up to give Manchester United the route through to the semi-finals of the FA Cup. Honestly, it was just breathing a sigh of relief there because, as you know, we're looking for the quad, and in general, Ben wouldn't have been able to do it had, of course, they been knocked out there. He could play no part in that quarter-final, just had to watch the rest of his team try and reach that semi-final. So they have done it, and we'll check out who they've drawn in that semi-final later on in the episode. But for now, we move into the second leg of this Champions League tie. This one, the round of 16 against Villarreal, with a 2-0 aggregate lead already gained by Manchester United over in Spain. Villarreal have a very tough task here coming to Old Trafford if they are to get themselves through to the quarterfinals of the Champions League. Interestingly enough as well, Neymar currently is the top scorer of the Champions League with 7 goals so far in the competition. Of course, could have been a teammate of Ben's at PSG. Probably will be a teammate of Ben's in the near future if that PSG offer does come back in the summer. But as I said, Villarreal with it all to do in this game. They started off pretty well, actually, creating the first chance. Gomez down the left, finds his man in the middle. But David De Gea, it's an easy save in the end for the Spaniard. And he had to play pretty well, let me say this, throughout the game. But United, we knew they'd have chances in them, especially being at home. Ben turns his man there in the edge of the area far too easy. Tries to find that bottom corner. And Martial was inches away from getting on the end of that rebound to put it 1-0 to the home side. And continuing on, they just came into it with the game plan that all they had to do was just not Villarreal scores. So they defended quite tightly. Didn't really make too many mistakes at the back. And then they got another chance here, 59 minutes in. Again, Martial with it. But he couldn't even hit the target with his shot. Ending up hitting it wide of the goal completely. And that was his last contribution in the end. Jota coming on for him. And, not the greatest performance in the world from Martial. But not the greatest performance in general from Man United. They honestly didn't create that much. They just looked to close the game out and just kind of lie on that 2-0 aggregate lead that they already got. And that's exactly the way the game ended. A 0-0 draw and a 2-0 aggregate win for Manchester United. The fans are jubilant. Personally speaking, it's been a boring game, that one. But it doesn't really matter too much because, as you know, as I said, it means that they now get through to that quarter-final of the Champions League and are heading on course for still their quad. Now, the thing is, guys, let me say this, right? Even if Man United don't win one of the 4 trophies, a treble would still be sensational. So we can't really be too disheartened if it goes wrong at some stage because they're going to be playing somewhere close to 60 games and the chances are it's probably not all going to go right. And as you can see, a couple of England games had passed. Ben actually picked up a knock at this point. I don't know what exactly went wrong. He did have a slight injury, though, which meant he wasn't able to play in the England games. And then they decided that the home game against Southampton, he wouldn't be risked for. Luckily, they beat Southampton. They drew, I think, in one of the England games and won in the other one. So they're still top of the European Championship qualifiers and in terms of their group stage. So hopefully they'll still get through it no matter what. Now then, look at this next month of the calendar. I said we'd check out the draw, so here's how it's panned out. After getting through against Everton in that the quarterfinal, the FA Cup, they will now play against Arsenal in the semi-finals. And after beating Villarreal in the round of 16 of the Champions League, it's Chelsea up next for Manchester United. Sensational draw, 2 very tough games, or kind of ties, I guess you could say, in the space of no time at all. And it's going to be really, really tough, I think, for United to keep up with the pace of the games. But here's to hoping they can do that. We'll see an early maybe sign because they do play Chelsea in the next game after this one against Stoke. And in many ways, it's become sort of like a mini rivalry. You know, last year, Chelsea beating them to the title by a point. We knew that. This time around, Man United not only have the chance to dethrone them in the Premier League, but also knock them out of Europe's biggest competition. Could be a story to write there. But anyways, moving on, Stoke City, the next opponents. And for Man United, as I said, by next episode, if things go their way, they could be mathematically secure as title winners. So victory here will put that into motion. It's not a bad side from Stoke, but it's one that, Manchester United should be able to win. They've got a very good team out as well. It's their strongest 11, and I don't expect Stoke to score. David De Gea is just unreal. For me, I would say De Gea is probably the best keeper in the world. And that's not me just kind of being biased or anything because I watch Premier League football. But yeah, for me, he's easily one of the world's best, if not the best. I personally think he's the best in the world at the moment. But let me know what you guys think. Who do you think is the best goalkeeper in the world at the moment? And just before anybody says, because people seem to think that I'm a Man United fan, I don't understand why. I am not a Man United fan. I am an Arsenal fan. I have a lot of friends who are Man United fans, and I don't like Man United for that simple fact because every single time Arsenal played Man United when we were growing up, it seemed to be Man United that used to get the better of us, and I used to get slated for it by my friends. So, yeah, I am not a Man United fan. I've had a few people say that to me, and that's the reason I don't want Ben moving the club. That's not even true at all. I'm not a Man United fan, never will be, never have been, okay? So, just to clear that up for anybody, I just think David De Gea is the world's best goalkeeper at the moment. And anyways, getting away from that, Ben gave Man United a lead this game, and then he was substituted off. One thing in mind for Mourinho is that he did have the Chelsea game coming 4 days after this one. So, chose to make the substitution. In the end, after Ben left the field of play, Manchester United picked up a penalty to make the score 2-0. Not the most convincing penalty in the world, Vimmer. There's not much in that one. I don't know if it is a penalty, but it's given regardless. And it will be Romelu Lukaku to step up and try and get his second Premier League goal in as many games here. And he did just that. Left-footed strike towards the bottom corner. And Stoke fell 2-0 down at home. It was pretty much game, set, and match at this point. Didn't feel as though Stoke were going to make it back into the game. And yeah, I was pretty confident moving forward in this one. But let me know anyways, as I said earlier, who do you think is the best goalkeeper in the world? There's so many questions I've asked you guys in the episode today. Who do you think is the best goalkeeper in the world? What should we do for the 100th episode? Should I keep the Champions League, kind of moving? If Ben gets there to the final, should we play it in that 100th episode? Or what should I do? Just let me know what you think. We're going to be live streaming it anyways. And hopefully I'll be doing it at a time where as many of you guys can tune in as possible. But I just want to get your input because, as always, you guys are massively a part of this channel. And as I always say, without you, I wouldn't be making these videos. Because part of the enjoyment is kind of just looking at the comments that you lovely people leave, telling me, how much you're enjoying the series or what you think should happen. So it is kind of cool to see as well. And that's one thing, of course, that I used to try and do a lot of. Please bear in mind, guys, I do read comments. I've seen in the past that I know I used to reply to them quite a bit and, love heart most of them, but that was when I had, a lower kind of amount of watches. Nowadays, it does get a little bit hectic sometimes, especially with me working full-time, coming straight back, having to record a video, then going back out again. I do kind of have a hectic, kind of busy lifestyle at the moment, but hopefully maybe that'll change soon, never know. But regardless, this game here ended up with a 2-0 win for Manchester United. It was a good win as well. And in general, I am looking as if this is going to be probably the one and only time where there's going to be a quad one. I don't think I've ever done a quadruple on the channel before. I've done a treble, I've done a double, but I don't think I've ever done a quadruple. So this could be the first of many things to come on the channel. I've done an unbeaten season in League One in the last year's Road to Glory. We might do it again on this year's Road to Glory in the Premier League. Who knows? I've done, of course, the treble, the double, but I've not yet done a quadruple. So maybe that's going to have to be a first thing to happen. Last game of the episode, though, against Chelsea, about to come at you here. A preview of the double leg that we're going to have in the Champions League against them. Really am looking forward to that one. And it's been somewhat a hit and miss season for Chelsea. In the Champions League, they've done quite well. But in the Premier League, they've not hit the same heights they did last season. I don't even think they're in the top three at the moment. I think it's Watford and Arsenal. They're fourth. Okay, so they're joint fourth. So they're pretty much there. But Watford are having an unbelievable season. Let's just say that. Full credit to them. They are having an unreal campaign. And I fully have to give them massive respect for that. Because never did I expect Watford to be up in this situation, and that's exactly what's happening. So, potentially, we're going to see Watford playing Champions League football next season, which could be sensational. Nevertheless, the Chelsea team, it's a decent one, we know about it, but they've got a decent bench as well. It's going to be an interesting game, this one. We are at Old Trafford for it, and the preview is about to begin. On the other hand, when we've watched Man United play against Chelsea, it seems to be Manchester United who always get the better of the two sides. Romelu finding his teammate Ben, he strikes it goalwards, but it falls straight back to Martins, who gets a lot of power behind the strike. But let me say this, it takes a deflection, and then Courtois still gets his hand to it. I nearly said Lloris there, I don't know why. Yeah, Courtois gets a hand to it, but can't keep it out. Look at this. You'll see it from this other angle in a moment. Martins' shot, it comes off the man's foot there. Then Courtois gets two hands to it, but it comes at him so fast that he just can't push it out. And in the first half, Chelsea are a 0-0 down. A game of very few chances as per usual. Ben, lovely little disguise pass into his teammate, gets it back as well, looks for the curler. And that is quite brilliant from Courtois. Phenomenal one-handed save, stops it going 2-0. It didn't matter in the end though, because Manchester United in a game, as I said, a few chances, found the one that mattered and came out on top to take the 1-0 win. Don't get me wrong, I am not expecting this to be the only situation that it's going to see in that double leg of the Champions League. I fully expect that one to be a game of a lot more chances over the course of the two legs. Both teams are going to seriously have to go for that, and I'm really looking forward to when it happens. But for now, that is how we end today's episode off, guys. You'll see a league table coming up in just a moment if you want to check it out. 8 games to go, 21 points clear of Watford. So as I said, next episode, Manchester United, it's in their hands, can secure Premier League winners by winning the next game and hoping that Watford, Arsenal, Spurs, Chelsea and Southampton all drop points. But that's it from me for today, guys. As I said earlier on, I'll see you all again at 4 PM tomorrow for the Ji Sheng story. Then after that at 6 PM for the Road to Glory career mode. Make sure, if you're not already, you hit that subscribe button. Also click the notification bell so you never miss an upload. I'm struggling to get my words out at the moment. But hopefully you'll have a fantastic Monday. And I'll see you all again tomorrow, guys. Catch you all later. Adios.